I was 12 years old when I started my journey with Jesus. I just moved to this country from India, and my mom was diagnosed with a kidney disease and was on her deathbed. There were so many other struggles going on in my life. I felt hopeless and alone until my biology teacher, Mr. Whiting, introduced me to Jesus. He told me that I could pray for my circumstances and that God would hear me. And honestly, that was the very first time I heard that. And God heard me. I realized that there is a God who loves me, hears me, knows me, and wants to be personally involved in my life. Maybe you just started your journey with Jesus or trying to figure out the whole faith thing. I want to remind you that this is a journey, not a destination. It is a lifelong process. The journey will transform your life as you grow in your understanding of how deeply loved you are. And you are loved no matter what. You are loved. The other part of my story is that I grew up in an abusive home, and my way of coping with it was to be as good as I could possibly be. I thought if I am perfect, then there won't be an opportunity for anger or violence, but it never helped. So I spent my childhood trying to be perfect, and every time I messed up, I was covered with shame because I felt like I was just a big broken mess. And every time I was disobedient to God, I felt like I was unworthy of His love because I wasn't perfect. By the way, I still struggle with this today, and I have to keep coming back to Jesus for healing from those wounds. God's unconditional love works in powerful ways. It saves us from our guilt, shame, and sense of hopelessness. In my case, every time I feel guilt or shame, I remind myself, or the Spirit of God reminds me, that I am loved no matter what. God's love saves us from the consequences of our disobedient choices. He never stops loving us or pursuing us because He has a purpose for us. We were created to be God's image bearers. We are meant to be His representatives on this earth. And when we live out that purpose, we find a deep sense of fulfillment. In making the decision to start the journey with Jesus, we are saying yes to God's love transforming us daily to live out His incredible purpose. What you are doing in beginning a new life with Jesus is entering into a loving relationship with Him and giving Him access to every part of who you are. Now, to give someone access like that means you have to know that that person is trustworthy. It is a vulnerable thing to do. So how do we know that we can trust God and His love for us? We know that God is trustworthy through His Word, the Bible. He reveals Himself through that. We can also get to know Him through other people's experiences of Him. We can also know God through worship, where we have a divine encounter that cannot be captured in words. So I want to say, you've started an amazing journey with God. Keep it moving forward. Keep it moving forward by attending worship with us on Sundays. Read God's Word. Maybe start in the Gospel of John. And check out the other links below for the further next steps. Thank you for saying yes to Jesus. We celebrate with you. And when you are here, worshiping in person, we want to invite you to come to the Welcome Center. Speak to us, introduce yourself. We would love to get to know you more.